So that this is the second class that I will be facilitating for you. And of course, I would love to ask questions about the last class, but I'm not sure that I will have some responses. But today we are going to proceed with our topic. And if you can remember, in the last topic we started talking about the cell. And in the topic, I introduced us to the concept of cell, the definition or the meaning of the cell, the history of the cell, that is, the scientists that contributed to the history of the cell. In that class, I was able to define a cell for you as the basic, the simplest, the smallest, functional, and structural unit of life, and that life cannot exist outside the cell. You may want to stop annotating on the screen. You want to stop annotating on the screen. So, as I'm saying, today we are going to continue with our topic, which is cell, where we are going to basically talk about the structure and the function of the cell organism. As I've said, we define cell, and we also talk about the history of the cell in our last class. Where we talked about who was the father of cells, the first person to actually discover a cell. We talked about Felix Dujardin, Felix Dujardin, who said that our cells are made up of living components and called them protoplasm. And similarly, we talked about Matthias Claydon, German botanist, who submitted that all plants are made up of cells. Similarly, Theodore Swan, a zoologist, who also said that all animals are made up of cells. And then finally, Rudolf Afriko, who in his own submission said that plants is that the cell is capable of new cells come from old cells. Cells are capable of producing the old cells are capable of producing new cells. So today let us go straight to our topic, which is the structure and the function of cell organisms. So the objective of this class is that by the end of this class, you should be able to describe the structure of the plant and animal cell. You should also be able to identify at least 5 components of the cell and their functions. And similarly, you should be able to compare and contrast plant and animal cell. I would have asked you to, just as a way of starting our class, for you to check every count the number of how many numbers you can see. But in case you are with me, you can just count and drop your answers in the chat box here. I think I have me here. Every count the number you can see on your screen. I think for me, I can see 6, I can see 8, I can see 0, I can see 4, I can see 1, I can see 2. Yeah, I think that should be like 6 or 7 numbers on my screen. Well, let me proceed the class. Now the time. Yes. So here is the structure of a plant cell. Here you can see the plant cell is like 4-sided or 6-sided substance unit. Let me call it unit. And the one I'm projecting to you is plant cell with 4 sides. It has a cell wall, which is the external part of the cell, the external part of the cell. After then, we have our cell membrane. After the membrane, we have a very large vacuole. That's the central vacuole at Yeah, we have a large central facule, as you can see. I don't know if you can see it here. That's the large and centrally placed facule. Then at one side here, we have our nucleus, and surrounding our nucleus, we have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Then we also have ribosome, we have Golgi apparatus, we have our mitochondria, and similarly we have the cytoplasm and chloroplast. So how does our animal cell looks like? Let us check it out. How our animal cell also look like. Yes, unlike plant cell that has four sided like a rectangle or six-sided an hexagon. Here we have an animal cell that is spherical or like an oval in shape, spherical, and basically we call it shapeless because it can assume any shape. So in our diagram here, we started with the cell membrane, which we call the plasma membrane here. After them, we have our mitochondria, we have our nucleus, which is very big here, nucleus consisting of the nucleolus and the chromatin. Then also we have our ribosome, we have the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and similarly the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, just as you can see in the plant cell. Then here we have a facule that is characteristically smaller than what we have in the plant cell. Then we have our other components of the animal cell. If you check this plant cell with this, you start to see some differences there. For instance, in the plant cell here, we have a very large central facule here, while in our animal cell, we have a very small and conspicuous facule. Then another one is that here you can see we have this chloroplast. We have this here, chloroplast. But meanwhile, in our animal cell, we do not have chloroplast. Then another thing I want to call our attention to is this cell wall. Then on our plant cell, we have a cell wall, which is the outermost part of the plant cell. But in our animal cell, it is absent. These are three important components that differentiate plant cell from animal cell. And later part of this class, we are going to see more of it. Yes, the next thing now is to go to the components of the cell component or the cell organelle. This means the particles, the component inside the cells that we have just labeled, this part that we have just identified. Here I put up 10 here and their functions. So I will just run through it within the next few minutes. I want to read. The first one here on my list is mitochondrion. This mitochondrion is the site of cellular respiration in both plant and animal cells. This is where cellular respiration takes place, and the energy needed for body metabolism, the energy needed for day-to-day activities of the cell is generated at the mitochondrion. As you can see, this is our mitochondrion here. This is our mitochondria. Mitochondria is plural, mitochondria is singular. Our mitochondria here, and also in the plant cell, we have our mitochondria around here. This is our mitochondria. So it's present in both plants and animal cell, and it is the site of cellular respiration, site where the energy needed for the body metabolism is being produced. Next one is this facule. Here it says facule basically acts as an osmoregulator. Osmoregulator means that it helps to regulate the body osmotic level. Simply helps to remove excess water from the body, from the cell. The facule helps to remove excess water. As you can see in our plant cell, we have animal cell, it is very small here, while in our animal cell, we have in our plant cell, it is centrally placed and very, very big. Next one is the endoplasmic reticulum. Here we have we have the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Sometimes we call it the rough ER, and also we have the smooth ER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. We call it rough because it has uh, it's stained with ribosome. That's particles of ribosome around it. That's why we call it the rough endoplasmic reticulum. And basically, it is for the rough ER is for protein synthesis and transportation, while the smooth ER is meant for lipid and steroid synthesis. And let us see our ER and the SR. This is our smooth endoplasmic reticulum here, and here is our raw endoplasmic reticulum. Also in our plant cell, we have our smooth endoplasmic reticulum here, and our raw endoplasmic reticulum also here. Let us see the next one. Yes, the Golgi bodies, or what we also call the Golgi apparatus, it is used for synthesis and packaging, packaging and distribution of materials around the cell. Then chloroplast, yes, chloroplast contains chlorophyll for photosynthesis in green plants. Don't forget, I said in green plants. So all that means that this chloroplast is only present in plant cell. This is this here. Our chloroplast is only present in plant cell. However, it is absent in animal cell. Animal cells do not have chloroplast. And why is it they don't have chloroplast? It's because animal cells do not photosynthesize. And this is why they don't have the chloroplast. And further, we have lysosome, which is site of production of enzymes for respiration and destruction of worn-out cells. We have our ribosome, which is meant for protein synthesis. Yes, our lysosome, our ribosome. Where's this? This is our ribosome here, and then and our lysosome here, lysosome here. Then in our plant cell, we also have our ribosome here and also our lysosome. So let us go to the next one, which is centrioles. Yes, they are active for cell division. Then for cell of what we call the plasma membrane, it is a selectively permeable covering of the cell. It allows high-tech particles, materials to pass in and out of the cell. Then finally, we have the cell wall. The cell wall is different from cell membrane. Here, the cell wall protects the cell and provide mechanical support in plants. So our cell wall is only present in plants. Animal cells do not have cell wall. Animal cells do not have cell wall. Our animal cell do not have cell wall. It's only present in plants. As you can see, this is plasma membrane here, but we do not have cell wall. We have plasma, or we call the cell membrane. For animal cells do not have cell wall. But for plants, plant has what we call the cell wall. Next one we want to see is the similarities between plants and animal cell. So what are the basic similarities between plants and animal cell? Yes, number one is that both plant and animal cell, they have the nucleus in common. They have the Golgi bodies, the mitochondria, the cytoplasm, the chromosomes, endoplasmic reticulum, nucleus, ribosome, lysosome, and the cell membrane. These are the 10 basic components that are present in both plants and animal cells. So these components, they are present in both plants and animals. And don't forget, here are the functions of some of the parts that I mentioned. Mitochondria, Golgi, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosome, lysosome, cell membrane, and so on. You can find out the function of the others, like the chromosome and the nucleus, during your personal study. The next thing now we want to see the differences between plants and animal cell. What differentiates a plant cell from an animal cell? The first and most important one is that plant cell has cell wall. So plant cell has chloroplast, while animal cells do not have chloroplast. And don't forget that the function of this chloroplast is that it helps in photosynthesis. And due to the fact that animals do not photosynthesize, they do not have the chloroplast. Then the second one is that plant cell is either definitely, that means that it has a shape. It has a shape. But as for animal cell does not have a shape. Or the animal cell are usually shown. Plant cell has cellulose cell wall, that's cell wall, as I said earlier. Plant cell has cell wall, animal cell do not have cell wall. Cell wall, the function of cell wall here is that cell wall helps to give shape and physical and mechanical support to the cell. The animal cell has this cell wall and the plant cell do not have. And also, it is also worthy to note, say, that it is this plant cell that gives plant cell the shape. It is the cell wall, this cell wall that gives plant cell its shape. That means that without cell wall, the plant cell will not have a shape, just as animal cell is shapeless. The fourth one is that in plant cells, centrioles are absent, whereas in animal cell, centrioles are present, and it is used for cell division. These centrioles, the function of centrioles is that they facilitate cell division, and they are absent in plant cell. Then it is less dense. That means that's less density. They're not so much packed together. But for animal cell, cytoplasm is dense, and that's high density. And for the sixth one, in plant cell, we have starch granules. While for animal cell, we have glycogen granules. Let me just talk more on this. For starch granules, it means that plant cells they store their own food in form of starch. And this is why they have the starch granules. But as for animal cells, they store their own food in form of glucose or glycogen. And this is why they have the glycogen granules. Then finally, plant cell has a large central permanent vacuole. Remember, I showed you the other time that plant cell has a centrally placed vacuole. And of course, this vacuole is absent in animal cell. But even when they are present, they are usually small and temporal when present. So these are the 7 major differences between plant cell and animal cell. And of course, according to the objectives of this class, you should be able to compare and contrast. It means that you should be able to say the similarities and differences between the plant cell and the animal cell. Then lastly, these are some of the things that I expect to have learned in this class. You should be able to identify the cell component that perform the following. For cellular respiration, you should be able to know that it is the mitochondria that perform cellular respiration. For photosynthesis, by now you should know that it is the chloroplast that performs this function of photosynthesis. Then for the genes, yes, the genes or the genetic materials of the cell are enclosed inside the nucleus. Nucleus is the site of genetic information of the cell. Then photosynthesis occurs at the ribosome. The ribosome performs the function of photosynthesis together with the raw endoplasmic reticulum. Don't forget that the raw endoplasmic reticulum is raw. This is the presence of ribosome. So we can still say that this is because the raw ER has ribosome. This is why it is able to synthesize proteins. Then for the shape of the cell is primarily determined by the cell wall. So since the plant cell has a cell wall, then this is why it is that shape. But meanwhile, animal cell who doesn't have that doesn't have cell wall is shapeless. Then for the two, number two, I said that show the state three differences and four similarities between plants and animal cell. As for the differences, of course, plant cell has chloroplast, which is absent in animals. Secondly, plant cell has cell wall, which is absent in animals. Thirdly, plant cell has a centrally placed vacuole, large and central vacuole, while animal cell has temporal, small, or sometimes they even have a vacuole. Then number four difference is that plant cell has starch granules, while animal cell has glycogen granules. We have other differences in this slide which I have also explained them earlier. So that will be all for this class. I hope that you enjoyed the class. So thank you for joining for today. Hopefully we are going to meet some other time. Thank you very much and good night.